Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. I'm here with Dave Denton, the independent outsider, we're doing our monthly Skype interview. This is one thing you get to do if you join the Patreon at the $25 level. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. So, Dave, what did you want to talk about today?
First off, I want to say as a thank you, a belated thank you to everybody. I always do that. I'm not going to go, I almost did an Oscar-style list. I'm not going to do all that. But one thing I wanted to mention, first off, is during the holidays, when you're doing your shopping, when you're doing your online shopping, or even if you have to do a dispute resolution over the phone or whatever, remember that the guys on the phone or the guys that are behind the counter, they're not your enemy. They're working for the enemy. Just remember that. I have to say that the day after Thanksgiving, thanks to you and your suggestions, and thanks to the Green Party and some of the local Long Island groups, I went to a Black Friday free store that's set up by a local group on Long Island every year. It's basically a donation kind of thing, and it's set up off to the side of Walmart. Normally it's between 10 o'clock and 3 a.m. I got there around 1 p.m. and already the local authorities were shutting it down. But I got to talk to some. People. Yeah,
So
they
what,
don't.
what is the point? Like, what is their point, or what are they taking donations, or are they just?
They're taking donations, and it's a speaking against just the gross capitalism, just the overindulgence. And remember that there are people out there that need things and aren't able to go to these stores.
Right.
So, they're a little more anti-capitalist than I am, but in my opinion, we're not capitalists anymore. We're monopolists.
Yeah.
There is no capitalism without competition, and competition is quickly fading, which is, my next segue to my next thing, which is, in all honesty, the most important thing, and the real fight right this second is net neutrality.
Yeah, let's get into that. So that's been a big subject that's just happened, and many people have asked me to cover this. I'm sure I'll talk about it more than once. So just to kind of bring people up to speed, I'm reading off of an article from The Intercept right now, and it said, Federal Communications Commission Chief Ajit Pai has announced that on December 14th, the body will vote to pare back net neutrality, which is going to affect all of our internet freedom. As it is said, this is what somebody wrote on their website. Basically said this is as anti-consumer as it gets. All will pay more for less, while simultaneously enriching corporations as they increasingly control who sees what and when. This is not Make America Great Again. It's a heist and hijacking. So let's get into that. So what are your they've been threatening this for a while, and I don't think, people have sort of heard rumblings of this here and there, and I don't think it's become this much of a potential reality until now. Now they're voting on it December 14th, and I think that it makes sense why they're obviously going after it, because this is the last corner of humanity that the corporations don't completely control. They cannot control the message. I mean, this show is an example, Jimmy Dore's show, on down the line. So this is the place now that they will weed out, and you'll have to be super computer savvy to find information that isn't part of their propaganda machine. So what are your thoughts on this, or what exactly specifically did you want to talk about?
There are a couple of things I've noticed. You may have noticed I'm buffering a lot more than I used to. I think that this is a negotiation tactic where you scare people and you go, oh my God, this is going to happen. All of your power is going to go away, and they're going to chip away at it slowly but surely. I also think that, and I am not by any means diminishing anything that happened to any victims or anything of that nature in regards to Franken. The government is not moral. I believe that Franken is going down. This picture has been out for decades.
Right.
Okay, it's been around for decades, and now I think Franken's being taken down not due to morality, but due to his stance on net neutrality and the fact that he wouldn't play ball on this. It's just the sheer timing of it, the timing of the Time Warner AT&T merger, everything going on with Verizon. I think it was funny. I had to up my data usage, and one of the salespeople, he misquoted a price. So I was like, okay, thank you. I hung up. When I start to get angry, the second time is a charm, and then I kind of practice. And I spoke with somebody. I said, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. You're paying me for the whole. You're charging me for the whole bill, not just for the unlimited plan, just for that one thing." Right. And she's like, "Oh, he must have misquoted you." I'm like, you guys, I understand you're working for Verizon, but what Verizon is doing right now is not right. And she's like, "Well, the policies we have to, enforce." I'm not talking about the policies. I'm talking about net neutrality. And just, absolutely, sir, I'll take care of you right away. And they set me up. So once you start knowing what you're talking about, what I do want to mention too, especially in California and New York, there are petitions and rallies and things of that nature. If the audience goes to fightforthefuture.org, and when this video gets posted, I will post that link as well. There is a list, especially in California and New York City, of different protests going on early December before the vote on December 14th. And of course, always contact your congressman.
Yeah, it's a big thing. And what's interesting about this, and this is what the Intercept article touches on, is that it's making strange, war creates strange allies or strange bedfellows, whatever that old saying goes. And so like Breitbart News, which is a huge Trump supporter, and I don't really like or condone what Breitbart has done and is currently doing, except for the fact they're speaking out about this. Because net neutrality will affect them. It'll affect Alex Jones. It'll affect, any of these organizations, any of these whatever people or independent news sources, whatever you want to call them, because people could say that they don't get access to it, and it's really going to benefit people like Comcast and. Because here's what Comcast will do. They'll just drive people to MSNBC's websites and MSNBC's news clips. That's what this is all about. And it's people like Trump supporters like, how can Trump be on board with this? He was about draining the swamp. Well, what did you think was going to happen? So there's so many people speaking out about this. And here's a great point I want to read that Julian Assange tweeted. He said, "Dear Trump, net neutrality of some form is important. Your opponents control most internet companies. Without net neutrality, they can make your tweets load slowly, CNN load fast, and infest everyone's phones with your ads. Careful."
Right.
Which is like, and I think that's a good tactic to take. That Trump and his team are just sort of delusional about how much power they have and how long they'll be in power. And I don't think people understand that they can. I mean, look how much CNN and MSNBC helped Hillary Clinton get the Democratic nomination. They could do that for anybody.
Right. And how Obama used emails. He was the first one to use electronic media in a positive way. There was something funny on Twitter that somebody was like, "Well, hey, Ted Cruz, remember if this happens, your porn stations may not be available on your internet network." But I think it's interesting that the first Republican has come out against the attacks on net neutrality and that Susan Collins.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that this is going to pass. I also think that it is a huge, huge conflict of interest with Ajit Pai being the head of the FCC. He's a Verizon bulldog. I mean, how can that not be antitrust or some kind of conflict of interest? It's insane. That in itself, he should recuse himself or get himself out of the.
That's the insanity of the corporate state. Is right. They have put key people in every key position. I mean, this is how they do it. They got a Verizon guy on the FCC. They have their corporate tentacles are in everywhere. They're in governance. They're in education. Universities are not these like free speech, free thinking, places for young people to really experience the world. No, it's for them to be ingested with the corporate mantra and how the war machine's good and all this other stuff. And then they're given a little, freedom. It's like we talk about a lot, but there's not a democracy. There's not a representative democracy anymore. This is a kleptocracy, and the powerful corporations and the oligarchs are calling the shots. And net neutrality is just like their final thing that they can get a hold of, and it's pretty terrifying. And I hope you're right. I hope it doesn't get passed. I'm glad we're having this conversation, because people need to petition all their lawmakers to say no, no, no. And tell me the website again, the .org one.
Is fightforthefuture.org. Okay. And anybody who's doing a little podcast or live stream like me, like Stevie or James Young or Bella or anybody, even you or Jamal, all of this can go away. Mm-hmm. Every bit of this, Holly Seeliger, Tim Black, any of these guys, unless you're one of the big guys, unless you're Cenk Uygur at TYT, he's a behemoth, or Alex Jones, where are the smaller people? Where's that pecking order going to be? The whole purpose of the internet is we're not TV.
Yeah.
We don't, this was our haven, and now it's going to be taken away. And a good point with, the people being plugged in, people wonder where the hell Betsy DeVos came from. She was a Koch brothers gift. Her father was, the Amway god, and he was part of that inner circle. So it has nothing to do with qualifications. It has to do with connections in many ways. And what can we do to help you dismantle the system? Yeah. So that's, which actually leads me to another point, and kind of a semi-exclusive declaration, but not really surprising. Within the week, I will be officially joining the Green Party.
Oh, good for you, man.
Thank you.
What does that look like, and what brought you to that decision?
Well, when I first started this, I went to the Left Forum, and I was interested in it, and I don't think that there was a Suffolk County party had really installed yet. So the local party had stalled a little bit, and I know that I had announced to you or tweeted to you that I had my first actual honest-to-God interview, and that was with the Suffolk County party chair, Pauline Zalotti. And we started speaking. It was on the New York State Constitutional Convention, which was an awesome chance to strengthen some of our protections, but it was summarily voted down. It was just squashed. And I think that was the corporate media, or just the machine scaring the hell out of people and unions, saying that the pensions will be taken away. Go a little bit into that in a minute. The Constitutional Convention would not have done that, but people were just scared. But that conversation led to me speaking with Pauline a little bit more, and speaking to other Green Party members and Green Party chairs, and actually one of the co-chairs of the National Green Party, Darlene Elias. I recently spoke with her, and when I was speaking to all of these people, I started saying, we and our party, and we're going to do this, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm already there. People are talking about plugging me in. It makes no sense for me not to be part of the Green Party, and I'm going to, it makes no sense not to at least realize that their platform is the right platform.
So then when you join,
yeah,
I agree. I like the Green Party a lot. But so for anybody out there watching, how do you join? You pay some money, or how does that look? What does that look like to join the Green Party?
I'm going to register now. They talk about dues. They haven't really set, as far as I know, what the dues are going to be. That's part of the communication and the organization that I want to understand and help them with. They're talking about a $10 a month dues, which I have no problem with.
Right.
Then they're talking about, well, what if there's a homeless person that wants to join? Let's, we will deal with that on a person-to-person basis. Let's not talk about that for 3 hours. Let's, hey, $10 seems reasonable to me, to most people. But if somebody really has an issue, let's,
I want to talk to you about this though, because we've talked a lot. I've talked to a lot of different people about, like I've interviewed Eddie Pepitone and Dave Reinitz and stuff in the green room interviews, and many are talking about a third party would look like a labor party, and there's even like a couple big labor unions have gotten together to form a labor party, and there's not much coverage on it. Obviously, as a union guy who's now a member of the Green Party, is there space for another party that's labor, or should Greens and Labor and Libertarians all get together? Or like, what do you think about what an independent or what a third party would look like?
Personally, my fear with different labor unions getting together, first off, each labor union has their own base and their own issues and problems. That's one thing. But for labor to get together, they have been so tied to the Democratic Party for so long. I think it scares me that labor is getting together. I'm just afraid that it might get co-opted by the Democratic Party. I think we need kind of a new voice, and for different people who have had labor experience to plug themselves into a separate party, whether it be the Green Party or even the Progressive Independent Party, which is an umbrella of potentially libertarians and the Democratic Socialists and the Greens and different parties. So Labor's had its shot to organize like that. I think it's time, but respectfully, the Green Party has 4 pillars, and the first pillar is labor reform,
right?
And it's extensive labor reform. So I think they're on the right track.
Let me ask you this. So I mean, I voted for Jill Stein. I voted for Green candidates a lot. I always can call myself an independent, just because I don't like a personal party affiliation, and I love what the Green Party stands for. I love the Green New Deal. I know those 4 pillars well. My concern is just the Green Party doesn't have the money to get in the national conversation. Now, what Jill Stein did with the recount and the Electoral College was pretty impressive, the money that she raised and how she got a lot of national attention on that. So as we're getting into, we're only 5 weeks away from 2018, basically, which is a critical year. But as we go into 2020, how does the Green Party, what's it going to take for the Green Party to raise the money or have that kind of influence? Because if they can't get a candidate on the stage for the presidential debates, which is a huge thing to overcome, they're out of the race. They don't have a shot.
Right.
So how do they do that?
Coming from an outside position, in all honesty and all reality, I don't think they do for the next. I think they need to focus locally and continue their local base and move from there. And potentially with their voice, and if enough people organize, be loud enough to ask for a Democratic candidate and influence a Democratic candidate, such as Tulsi Gabbard or Nina. I don't think Bernie's a guy. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think his time, his time on the national stage is done. I think he served his purpose, but I don't think that the Green Party is powerful enough to have a national platform now, right this second.
Then you think it's winning local, it's getting more Greens in like the smaller local elections and stuff like that, kind of working their way up?
Working their way up, and if you noticed, there were a couple of Greens that just switched over in Maine and state offices and worked that way. In New York, Howie Hawkins ran for mayor of New York City and got a decent number of votes, but the Green Party needs to move forward, not rest on their laurels, but not be too. I mean, they can be ambitious. I'm not saying don't run a candidate, but for me, for any third party right now, it's about getting that message out. It's not about throwing that national candidate out. And I don't care about the whole spoiler. My thing is, if you have a strong enough candidate and a strong enough progressive candidate, you should win whether or not there's a third party. The Green Party is the strongest third party out there right now. It takes a lot for anyone to organize a party. If you're talking about, what are we going to do in 2020? I don't think there's any way in hell for the labor union to the different labor unions to get together that quickly and organize a cohesive party. It's not that easy.
Yeah, that's not that easy, but I think what's going on in America is everyone's sort of hungry for something, and I think it's why people are coming up with trying. Well, we'll form a Labor Party, or I'll switch over to the Greens. But even so Gary Johnson, he got a lot of votes in the presidential election. He got more than Jill Stein did, which was kind of impressive to me. So I wonder, let me ask you this, not that I know of any information of this being a thing that could happen, but what would you say if the Libertarian and Green Party wanted to join forces to just be sort of a progressive small government party?
I say absolutely, and I say go even farther than that. Erik Heldt, I tell everybody, check Erik Heldt out and check the Progressive Independent Party out, because that's exactly what this is about. Creating an umbrella and saying, okay, who is the strongest independent out there right now that could get the right message out? Who is we're looking for a populist. We're looking for that voice, whether it be a Gary Johnson or whether it be, Jill Stein or a Margaret Flowers or a Jamu Baraka or, a Sherry Honkala, whoever it may be. And we may not even know who it is yet. Or who the hell knows that? I mean, pie in the sky, let's see Tulsi, go independent, or Nina go independent.
That'd be fantastic, man. If Tulsi or Nina came over independent or green or something, that would be so awesome. I would love to see that.
There has been an argument. Actually, I didn't even know this. Someone spoke about it. Erik Reiber is another Green Party officer, and he brought up the point that the Bernie Sanders issue in 2016 should not have been a shock, because what he did in 2016, he did in 1992 when he did not endorse Ralph Nader.
Right.
And he endorsed Bill Clinton, and he rails against the TPP, but he endorsed the very person who was for NAFTA and for the very people who are for the TPP.
That's a good point. That's a good piece of information. I wasn't aware of that. So we got a couple minutes left here, Dave. What else would you like to touch on or discuss or?
All I have to say is, uh, everybody, thank you for the past 6 months. Thanks to Arabella Bloom, my foxhole friend, Stevie, you, Jamal Thomas, who inspired me, and all of these people. But in order for that inspiration to continue, and for all of this to continue, we have to fight net neutrality. We do. Whether you're a Green or even a Democrat or a Republican, listen to each other and come to a common ground, and let's fight so that our voices can be heard. I don't mind hearing a different voice. I'd like to hear the voice and not get it squished and not have to pay an extra $10 just to hear a Graham Elwood, speak about all of these issues.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, it's just to give you a little thing here to wrap up at this article in the Intercept that I've been referencing. On the NASCAR subreddit, which is not explicitly political but caters to an audience that is very much red state America, a thread on the attack of net neutrality went above 60,000 points before being closed by moderators. One commentator pointed out that this was all-time top voted thread in the history of the subreddit. So this attack on net neutrality, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm going to cover more of this myself, and everybody out there watching. If you like watching shows like this and other shows on YouTube, if you like independent media, I have no corporations telling me what to say. Neither does Dave. These are our opinions and our information. And if you want to keep having access to this, call all of your representatives, your senators, and your congresspeople, and say, keep net neutrality. Stop letting them attack it. This is ridiculous.
One final thing too, a little message and I'm actually feel a little honored to my personal internet trolls and to my to the trolls that have been hitting me and that have been hitting Graham and everybody. You guys are clever. You guys have a voice. Say something instead of doing something stupid. Being vulgar and trying to interrupt the conversation. Say something in a clever way. That's what I gotta say. Feel free to follow me on the internet and Twitter. I'm working towards those 100 subs so I can get my URL. I'm at 96. Push me over the edge, Graham.
Well, what's the name of your YouTube show?
The name of my YouTube show is Independent Outsider. Lately, I have been doing. I try to keep it late at night. I do a 420 chat, which is a chat. Obviously, it has a connotation, but I try to get through it until 4:20 in the morning for those late night owls. Wow. And 4:20, it's 4:20, wow, that kind of stuff. Be goofy, but at the same time talk about issues like net neutrality and it's also an uncensored chat, so you can curse or whatever you want to do because it's early in the morning, but that may go away with net.
That goes away.
I'm not monetized right now. I have a Patreon, but I'm at 0, which I'm not. I don't care that much. But for those of you who just want to get the information out, again, this right here, this is a fight. Net neutrality is a fight.
All right, everybody. Everybody out there watching, get involved with net neutrality. You've just heard Dave Denton, the Independent Outsider. My name is Graham Elwood. Contact
your life. We're fighting for our life. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. My name is Graham Elwood. You've been watching The Political Vigilante. Let's make Gotham great again. And like and subscribe to all the videos and spread the word. And we got to save net neutrality. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks, everybody.